roll call. First with Director Barrows. Here. Director Decker. Here. Director Smith. Here. Director Savala. Here. And I am also here. The first item on our agenda tonight is the presentation from our student board reps. First up, we have from Columbia River, Riley and Maya. So just one moment as we get Maya promoted and set up.
Alrighty, I think I'm unmuted now. I'm just unable to start my video, so I can go ahead. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Maya Anson, and I represent Columbia River High School. And additionally, I'm excited to announce that for the 2021 to 2022 school year, Columbia River High School will be represented by the wonderful Nikki Seibel. So for our last week's prompt, we were to answer the following questions. How does your school encourage students to make a positive impact in the world by using their strengths and abilities? Firstly, I believe this question holds a strong importance because to me, how we as both students and people can leave the world better than we found it is more important than any math problem or English essay. To me, this is the reason we've truly been going to school all these years. I believe that positive impact is born through happiness and individuality. And I believe this to be true because positive change can only come from a positive place. Columbia River offers many opportunities for students to express themselves authentically and be true within themselves and their individuality. This is seen through a wide selection.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
Are you guys able to hear me? Is everybody able to hear me?
Nothing, Maya, there. I need to be able to hear you right now. I'm working on getting that resolved. I apologize for the inconvenience there. The
Right.
Zoom audience were able to hear your presentation though.
Okay, do you want me to continue?
Going to hold off. We'll have you represent in a moment so the board can actually hear you.
Okay.
Check, check. All right, Maya, go ahead and give it another shot.
Alrighty, are you able to hear me now?
No, we're still not coming through. Hang on. We're starting a couple systems here. Just give me a couple minutes and we'll give it another shot.
Alrighty.
right, Maya, let's just have you continue for now. I'll let the board members know when you conclude, and we'll go ahead and switch over after that.
Alrighty. Am I good to go right now?
Yep, go ahead and continue for now.
Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Maya Anson, and I represent Columbia River High School. And additionally, I'm excited to announce that for the 2021 to 2022 school year, Columbia River High School will be represented by the wonderful Nikki Seibel. So for our last week's prompt, we were to answer the following question. How does your school encourage students to make a positive impact in the world by using their strengths and abilities? Firstly, I believe this question holds a strong importance because to me, how we as both students and people can leave the world better than we found it is more important than any math problem or English essay. To me, this is the reason we've truly been going to school all these years. I believe that positive impact is born through happiness and individuality, and I believe this to be true because positive change can only come from a positive place. Columbia River offers many opportunities for students to express themselves authentically and be true within themselves and their individuality. This is seen through our wide selection of electives like visual arts, pottery, photography, band, choir, etc., athletic programs, and sports like basketball, tennis, swim, cheer, and many more, and our many, many clubs like Film and Novel Club, Green Team, Diversity Equity Club, Gay Straight Alliance Club, etc. I give all of these examples because it's just a slice of what our school offers to students to be authentically themselves and partake in something they can enjoy. And so through these groups, students can find ways to leave their marks. For example, in art electives, students can bring positivity to the world through their art form. Art, whether it be physical, visual, or auditory, makes some of the biggest positive impacts in our world today. It can shape movements and provide hope and do so much for the mental health and representation for singular individuals, as well as communities and even nations alike. Clubs, as I mentioned before, give many opportunities to students to make a positive change. Clubs like Key Club, which is focused on bettering our community, Green Team, which is focused on bettering our environment, and Diversity Equity Club and our Gay Straight Alliance Club alike, which are focused on making a safe space for all students regardless of race or sexual orientation. All of these examples of groups and spaces that are designed for students to leave a positive impact and or make a better world around us. Furthermore, lots of these clubs provide volunteer opportunities as well as many of our programs require service hours. In my experience, I have felt like I've made a positive impact through being an ASB, NHS, Red Cross, Green Team, Diversity Equity Club, so on and so forth, and I can accredit these achievements to Columbia River. I appreciate your attention this evening and every month this school year, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maya. Oh. Next up, we have Michaela Smith from Fort Vancouver.
Hello. I'm also being joined by Princiona Miller. I don't know if you had her join too.
Give us one moment while we promote. What was the name one more time?
Princiona Miller.
Princiona Miller.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for your patience tonight as we work through these challenges.
Maya Princio has been promoted.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. I'll begin now. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Michaela Smith, and I am accompanied by Princey Miller, who will be taking over as student representative for next year, and we're from Fort Vancouver High School. Since students spend most of their days at school, school will have a huge influence on how students choose to affect the world around them. So it's important schools teach students how to use their strengths and abilities in a positive way. Fort Vancouver High School does this by having student-led clubs. We have clubs such as National Honor Society, Key Club, Black Student Union, Gay Straight Alliance, and many more. Clubs being student-led is a great opportunity for students to develop leadership skills and build a bond within our community. Most of our clubs serve our school and community, whether that be tutoring, volunteering at local food banks, or bringing light to a situation. This guides students to get out of their comfort zone and grow their abilities for the better.
In addition, our school participates in Global Youth Service Day. These are days usually held in April that are dedicated for the youth to carry out community service projects and to speak up about situations corresponding to their distinct beliefs, experiences, knowledge, etc. In the past, Fort Vancouver students took action by visiting local retirement communities, planting trees along Burnt Bridge Creek, collecting canned foods by holding a volleyball tournament, and so much more. This teaches students to get involved at such a young age and be willing to help those around them in a fun manner. Moving forward, Fort Vancouver High School has done many protests to seek change. In 2018, students walked out to protest gun violence in honor of the Parkland, Florida school shooting. This walkout was organized by Fort Vancouver High School students to end silence about gun violence. Also, students came out to support teachers on the issue that they weren't getting paid enough. This gives students a voice and starts their journey of making a positive impact on the world. It's important for students to start somewhere when growing their skills. Thank you for your time.
Thank you both. Next, from Hudson's Bay, we have Karen Gallegos. We will move on to Skyview with Teddy Beaver.
Good afternoon, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Avery Sievers, and I'm from Skyview High School. Your previous school board representative could not be here today, so I decided to cover for him, saying that I will be next year's school board representative, and the speech is prepared by him. Skyview works hard in attempting to promote students into making a positive impact in not only their school, but in their community. 4 things quickly come to mind. The first being school culture. At Skyview, hard work is put in by teachers and students alike to attempt to have a strong unifying culture. At least in days previous to hybrid and online learning, large assemblies were held, as well as countless other school-wide activities and events. School culture feeds into an overall environment for students to feel connected and to be a part of something that they can help influence and do good for the community. School clubs are also extremely influential. Clubs such as Key Club and NHS, culture and diversity clubs, as well as so many others, provide opportunities many students take advantage of in which they can truly have an impact on the world around them. At Skyview, we also give monthly awards that spotlight students and have been doing great work in the classroom or in the Skyview community during the past month. This not only helps to reward those that have been doing great work, but encourages others to do so as well. Finally, our leadership class at Skyview puts on a production every year called Bolt. During said event, a number of Skyview students speak out about themselves and stories they have to tell about their lives or the lives of those around them. Often these stories or speeches are very moving and truly are an example of students promoting a positive impact in their school. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up from iTech, we have Kira Navarro.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, cabinet members, community guests, and members of the board. My name is Kira Navarro, and I'm from iTech Preparatory. Here at iTech, we support as teachers that allow us to get the support we need during the year when it comes to helping us with our assignments, projects, or even in general when we need someone to talk to. This goes for students as well when coming for a supportive mindset. Our community is very supportive of what we do and our decision making. This helps a lot to bring a more positive attitude to everyone and encourage people to do the same for others. Having our main clubs, ASB, National Honor Society, and Key Club, This helps for our future. For instance, volunteering in Key Club and being a part of a social event for ASB gives students a need to want to help and put their input into the situation. We as students want to make change, even in the smallest ways. And going back to the support, having a supportive friend or teacher can get you a long way with knowing people support you. As our school uses technology every day, this is something that can be impacted for our future, given that our generations are now using technology for most things like work. For example, every 2 years, one of our middle school classes that are involved with Washington State history does a collaborative project with Fort Vancouver called Fever, where we make virtual tours for them, or we do 3D artifacts to post on their websites, and so that people can see from around the world. This gives a great opportunity for kids to have a good impact on the world and for other people in our community. And overall, our school shows a great demonstration in many ways on how our students positively impact our world using our strengths and abilities. And currently, since it's our last board meeting and I will be not doing this anymore, our new representative for iTech will be Clark Hegewald for the 2021 to 2022 year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Sammy Duncan from VSAA.
Hi. Oh, sorry, hold on 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. My dogs just started barking and so. Okay. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Sammy Duncan, and I'm here from VSAA. There are several ways that VSAA encourages students to make a positive impact in the world. One way being CORE, our connecting class that everybody has in our school, and it also has a theme that usually connects to real-world problems that changes every year and solutions to those problems. For example, last year, our core classes asked us to create an art project inspired by an element and a form of pollution that ties along with it, and solutions that how we can solve different types of pollution in our world. For example, my group in that project chose air pollution, and we looked up different causes and solutions. Also, in my honors communication or social studies class, we've been also creating art pieces about problems and current injustices and ways to solve them. Providing learning opportunities such as these encourages students to think critically about current and past problems and solutions. Another way that VSAA encourages students to make a positive impact is through art, which is VSAA's whole shebang. At VSAA, we are encouraged to continue and create art all throughout our lives and even outside of VSAA. Making a positive impact goes along with it as well. For example, guest artists come into our school and visit through various prompts and themes, and we get to learn all about them and how they are creating positive impacts in the world currently and doing that through art. Through these various ways and many others that I haven't listed, students at VSAA can learn about positive ways to impact the world and leave it better than we found it, mainly through the creation and inspiration of art. Thank you. And next year's representative is going to be Nora Van Rees.
Thank you so much. From Flex Academy, we have Lucas Carter and Dominic Pennington and/or.
Oh, it's a little bit dim. Oh, wow. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet, and community guests. My name is Dominic Pennington, and I am here representing Vancouver Flex Academy. This month's prompt question is, how does your school encourage students to make a positive impact in the world by using their strengths and abilities? Flex's biggest encouragement and strength comes from our sense of community. we as a school work to build strong connections between students as well as teachers. Those strong connections often lead to great compassion and the need to want and the need/want to help others, producing a great community service acts/projects. The students at Flex have shown this compassion and sense of community numerous times, from ASB fundraisers working hard to donate money to meaningful causes, to volunteering at the Clark County Food Bank, packing nearly 100 boxes of food for people in need. Flex students and staff takes pleasure in helping others and being that positive impact. In all my 4 years of attending Flex Academy, I can confidently say that Flex not only makes a strong effort to provide the students with the skills they need to live in the world, but to also act as a positive example. And with our new NHS chapter starting up, I can only imagine the opportunities that Flex will have to make a positive impact. As my presentation comes to a close, I would like to inform you that my replacement as student rep for the 2021-2022 school year will be Aaron Hughes. Thank you so much for your time. This has been a great experience.
Thank you. Oh, one more question is Karen Gallegos, did she ever show up on the list, Jefferson? Okay. I just want to thank the audience for your patience as we work through these technical challenges. I also wanted to thank our outgoing student presenters, Riley Sharman, Maya Anson, Mihaela Smith, Karen Gallegos, Teddy Beaver, Sammy Duncan, Kira Navarro, Lucas Carter, and Dominic Pennington. They presented to us all year. It's always great to get the insights from the school. We wish you well. I bet many of you are graduating, and look forward to meeting and hearing from our new student representatives. Our next portion of the agenda is citizen comments. Okay. Citizen comments is the time in our meeting where the board and administrative staff like to hear comments from the public. If you wish to address the board and did not have an opportunity to sign in at the start of the meeting, please do so now. You may continue to sign in at any time during the citizen comments portion of the meeting. Because most matters require fact-finding and review, the board is not able to respond to any public comments made at this time. Additionally, the state's Open Public Meetings Act restricts deliberation on topics that have not been placed on the publicly noticed agenda in advance. If follow-up action is necessary, the board will ask the superintendent to work with the administrative staff to consider the information and respond accordingly. As a regular business meeting of the board, we expect the audience to conduct themselves professionally and courteously. Additionally, speakers are expected to be respectful. Personnel complaints and personal attacks are not permitted. The board asks that personnel complaints be submitted in writing. We ask that you approach the podium and state your name and address. For the record, you will have 3 minutes to make your comments. If you hear a chime, please conclude your remarks. If you have materials or additional comments you would like the board to review, please hand them to the back of the room. This information will be provided to both the superintendent and the board. The board appreciates, listens, and cares about the broad range of perspectives in our community, and we thank you for your comments. Tonight, we have one speaker signed up, so you are welcome to join us at the podium. Yes.
Okay,
No. Yes, at the podium. Perfect. Thank you.
myself or no? Okay. My name is Bobby Evenson. My address is 5109 Northwest 143rd Street in Vancouver.
You can start when you're ready.
Right. This board voted unanimously last October to implement an equity curriculum in our school system. Equity, that sounds nice. Who would resist? Who would resist against equity for all? Wouldn't it be racist to think equity is a bad thing? Well, it depends on how the word is defined. It's easy to misunderstand. I'm hopeful that this board misunderstood what they were voting for. Equity is defined as being equally fair. If our schools are teaching with equity, my question is, who is deciding what is fair for which people? Equality is different. Equality is defined as everything has equal value. Teaching equality would define all humans as created with equal value. In order to teach with equity, we need to go back to when America was founded to decide who is good and who is wronged. I have been told that this curriculum teaches kids as young as 5 years old that Thanksgiving could be a day of mourning for the indigenous people of America. Is this the basis of equity learning? Teaching our kids that America is bad? I learned that students are learning white people in this country are naturally born oppressors. How should this make the white kids feel? At the same time, I've heard that they are being told that people of color in America have been oppressed and that they will struggle because of that. Instead of teaching our kids reading, writing, and math, this curriculum is teaching them to feel uncomfortable about who they are. This doesn't sound like a recipe for a happy community. This country was established with hope for freedom and prosperity for all. Mistakes were made, horrible things happened. This is part of America's history. It should not be forgotten. At the same time, though, this should not be our children's burden. As time went on, the people of America have learned from their mistakes. This is why today slavery is illegal and all citizens can vote. As a country, over the generations, we have continued to evolve. This is why so many people from all over the world want to come to live here. In America, where no matter who you are or where you came from, if you work hard, you will have opportunities that are not possible in the countries they are fleeing. These new citizens want to come live here in America, even though we are a work in progress. Our country is a reflection of our people, and like all people, no one is born perfect. We strive for quality life. We make mistakes, and hopefully we learn from them. I want our kids to know they are born with equal value and that it is up to them to decide who they want to be. If we teach our young citizens to dwell on the bad and all that our founders have done wrong, we are teaching them to hate our country. If the stories they hear reflect of different colors having generalized characteristics based on how they look, they will see themselves as bad or weak or guilty. They will look at each other and feel uncomfortable. Equity is not the answer. People of Vancouver, whether you have kids in the district or not, this affects you. These students will be the adults of our communities. And I will say all this stuff that the kids said was awesome. It gave me a good feeling, but the equity isn't my kind of.
Thank you. That is our one and only comment for tonight. Thank you very much. Moving on to our next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Thank you. I will vote. Everyone say, sorry, I'm typing. I'm not going individual. We'll vote. I'll start with Director Barrows.
Approve.
Director Decker.
Approve.
And Director Smith.
Approve.
And Director Zavala.
Approve.
And I also approve. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, both the instructional and administrative support services, and the other portion of our consent agenda. Fiscal. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Director Smith. We will go for a vote. Director Barrows.
Approve.
Director Decker.
Approve.
Director Smith.
Approve.
And Director Zavala.
Approve.
And I also approve. For our regular business, Our first item on the agenda is for instructional and administrative support services. The recommendation to approve a lease agreement with the Town Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools.
The Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools requests approval of a 30-year lease agreement for use of its existing office space in the Jim Parsley Education Family and Community Center. The Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools is an independent 501c3 educational nonprofit corporation established in 1988 to support Vancouver Public Schools and its 23,000 students. As part of an annual partnership agreement, VPS provides the foundation office space and equipment in the Parsley Center. Close proximity to the district's administrative center assists the foundation staff in effectively and efficiently coordinating services. A 30-year lease agreement will help to assure long-term stability and continuity for the foundation. Additionally, it will be consistent with similar lease agreements previously enacted between Vancouver Public Schools and the Free Clinics of Southwest Washington and the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Washington, which also operate as long-term partners in the Parsley Center. The Office of the Legal Services and Fiscal Services have reviewed this agreement. It is a recommendation that the VPS Board of Directors approve a 30-year lease agreement with the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools to provide office space in the Jim Parsley Center and authorize the President and Secretary to execute the appropriate documents.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Director Barrows. Any questions on this item?
I'd just
Okay.
like to make a comment. I feel like that tiny little thing that started 30 years ago, I mean, not 30 years ago, it was in 1988, has become such an amazing support system for our students, not only our neediest students, but also our neediest families. And they've also helped support us start early learning programs and helped teachers with resources. And we are so blessed and so lucky to have this foundation that supports us in a way that only the private sector could. And so if we could give them a longer lease, I would.
I just want to say, as the board member that's participates in the foundation, it's really wonderful work they do, and they bring in so many community partnerships that support our district. So I absolutely support this. Let's go for a vote. Director Barrows.
Approve.
Director Decker.
Approve.
Director Smith.
Approve.
And Director Zavala.
Approve.
And I also approve. Our next and last order of regular business is a recommendation to award bid number 2021-011 Ruth Bader Ginsburg Elementary, formerly 25th Avenue.
On May 11th, 2021, 10 buildings were received and opened for construction of the new 25th Avenue Ruth Bader Ginsburg Elementary School. The lowest bidder formally withdrew their bid, thus making Corp Incorporated Construction Salem, Oregon, the lowest qualified bid. A copy of the bid tabulation is attached. The project includes the construction of a new school, grades K through 5, located on nearly 11 undeveloped acres owned by the district. The base bid amount is $31 million. A deductive alternate for the removal of solar panels from the project in the amount of $292,000 will be accepted. The project is part of the 2017 bond program. District staff and consultants have reviewed the bids, and it is recommended to accept the lowest qualified bid. The funding source is Capital Projects Fund. The recommendation is that the District Board of Directors award bid number 2021-011 to Corp Incorporated Construction, Salem, Oregon, for construction of the new Ruth Bader Ginsburg Elementary School in the amount of $30,708,000 plus Washington State sales tax, and authorize the interim superintendent to execute the appropriate contract documents.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. We can go for a vote. Director Barrows.
Approve.
Director Decker.
Approve.
Director Smith.
Approve.
And Director Zavala.
Approve.
And I also approve.
And can I just say, I'm looking forward to seeing ground broken on that
Yes.
spot. It's right around the corner from where I work, and I drive by, it's like, oh, break the ground soon.
It's right around the corner from where I live, and there's a very popular sledding hill on the, on the land right now. So I'm hoping they keep the sledding hill. But the whole, like, it's just so exciting to see that
Yes.
school being built.
So exciting.
It is, and it's our last groundbreaking, so it's exciting for this bond program. Okay, that concludes our regular business. The last item on the agenda is a Board of Directors report. So I'm going to invite Director Barrows and Director Zavala to discuss. There were a couple conferences in the last couple weeks. There was an equity conference through the Washington State School Directors Association that 3 of us attended virtually. And then there's also a 2021 2021 legislative review that I participated in virtually a week and a half ago. So we just wanted to provide a quick update. I'm going to go first because that's the first item on the agenda. So the 2021 legislative review, it was conducted virtually. It gathers all of the Southwest Washington representatives and senators just to discuss and annually kind of the hot topics that are affecting our region. It's put on by the Columbia River Economic Development Council, CREDC, and Identity Clark County and the Greater Vancouver Chamber of Commerce. Because of that, it's very economic driven. It's focused on the local economy. This year particularly, there wasn't a lot of mention on our K through 12 education funding. However, I think they touched on so many issues that affect our community and really our schools thrive when our community is thriving. But what I really pulled from it was the legislative priorities of the region after the I-5 bridge corridor, obviously a main issue. They talked about diversity, equity, and inclusion. They talked about post-COVID recovery, particularly for small businesses, and then the mental health and housing crisis. I just saw a lot of parallels to the main issues and the themes that we're working in our public school system. And it's just nice to see some parallels in the work that we're doing. As the legislators, they shared their feedback on this current session, their priorities and their forward outlook. It was interesting, the questions that they kind of were considering that I thought were also very applicable to our work, which is how to apply an equity lens in policymaking, how to best appropriate federal stimulus funding, very top of mind, and how to assess the greatest need for post-COVID growth and where is the most need for that recovery. So all things that are very applicable to the K through 12 world. Even though there wasn't much discussion about education, I just felt like it really was consistent with the work we're doing. So it was very informative. I'm going to turn it over to Director Barrows and Director Zavala to discuss the equity conference.
Okay, so back in May, 3 of us attended a virtual equity conference that was a group effort from WASDA, which is the Washington State School Directors Association, as well as WASA, the Washington Association of School Administrators. So it's a lot of superintendents, school leadership. So there were lots of different representatives there. It was over 2 days, and there were lots of different speakers, lots of information that was presented to us. But the most impactful part for me was they had a student panel and a group of student representatives. And that part to me really stuck out. There was a group of students that are on an equity committee, and they, I believe, represent lots of different schools. And so meeting virtually, I mean, they had to meet virtually, but it enabled them to really kind of work together. But they really talked a lot about student voice. And they talked a lot about using student voice authentically. And that part really stuck out to me just in thinking about our own work. And it gave me a lot to think about in terms of how we can, not just in our equity initiatives and, in kind of the outcomes from our equity audit, but just in general, how we can really lift up student voice and how we can use student voice in a more effective way or a more purposeful way. I love having our student representatives at our board meeting, but it is more presentation and just thinking about how can we engage in more dialogue? How can we, kind of get information from our student representatives that, we would want to use to move forward in certain initiatives and things like that. So I loved hearing from the students. That was the part that really, when I walked away with, that was the part that really kind of stuck out to me. So Director Zavala, share some of her thoughts.
So I was really, I came away really excited and I think hopeful, because I felt that as a district, we're kind of going the right way, we're making the right strides. What I really came away with, so the guest speaker, or the first guest speaker was Marco Chardin, I believe that's his name. But he just was so powerful, and I love that how he kind of brought in the Pledge of Allegiance and a poem that he wrote, and just like really talked about the experience of America and very the cultural way. But more than anything, I guess I'm really excited to read some of the books that they recommended. But a statement that I want to read really quickly that I think really just kind of captures what we really learned is, and so it says, our students witness and experience hate, discrimination, marginalization, and apathy based on race, sexual, gender identity, homelessness, language, religion, socioeconomic status, immigration, and disability, both inside and outside our schools. In order to fight against injustice and inequity, educators in every system need to examine their own implicit bias, power, and privilege, and universally design classrooms and schools so all students have equal opportunities to learn, share their voice, and work towards meaningful, authentic, and relevant goals. So I do believe that we, as a district, that is our goal. And I think also as a board, that is what we're here for. Yeah.
Thank you, Director Zavala. That was your first WASDA event.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have you represent Vancouver. Well, that is that concludes the meeting for tonight. Just as a reminder, our next meeting is June 16th. It will be virtual at 5:30. It will be our committee workshop meeting in order to review contracts, policies, items for our July 13th board meeting, which will be back here. I want to apologize again for the delays due to technical issues. We are still working and perfecting this live streaming. Just as a reminder for everyone, the recordings are posted on the website. So you can always, if you missed something or stepped away, you can always go back and hear the rest of the student presentations, because I know I will be doing this at the same. So thank you, and our meeting is adjourned.